Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel and another Sims 4 speed build. Today I have a large family home in Willow Creek for you. It is a traditional home that I have built on a 50 by 50 lot in the Sage Estates area of Willow Creek. The lot is called Oakenstead, which is a vacant house that I have demolished. And what I decided to do is sort of attempt, at least, to slope this lot downward using terrain manipulation. And I've never done something like this before, and you'll have to let me know if you think that it worked or not. I'm still not quite sure if it worked, but you'll see as we go along here. But anyway, I found this home on a Google image search. It is a real house that is located in Florida, and it's for sale in case anyone's looking for a house in Florida. Anyway, it was on a real estate website, and I didn't really realize at first how huge this house is. It was nice because I had so many photos of the exterior and aerial photos and things to look at. But wow, when I started mapping this out in my mind and then actually building it, it is a very large home. I wasn't really quite sure how this was going to turn out, and as you'll see, the house definitely evolves as I'm building. That sort of long rectangle that's sticking out on the left is going to be cut down here in a minute. Sometimes when I'm building, I just try to get a really rough, start down, and then just sort of mold. I don't know, kind of imagine like someone who works with clay. You start with a big lump. So the house started out as just basically a giant L, and then over time, as I start roofing and adding things, then it's molding into what is going to eventually be the finished home. But this house is very large, as I said. It has 6 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms. Also, of course, all the regular, living room, dining room, kitchen, laundry room. There's a large office. There's an art studio, which brings up the point of the title of the home. As you probably noticed, it's called Artist's Estate. And so what my idea was for this house is the Sim who lives here and her family, she is, a very famous artist and a painter. And so I had this idea that I wanted to fill the home with her work. I luckily had a Sim that is an artist, and so I had her create all the artwork for the home, and it kind of gives it a very personal touch. You'll see as we go into the interior how that worked out, but I think it was kind of a cool idea. But anyway, the house also has a pool, and the pool was an interesting project that changed several times throughout the build. Unfortunately, I have not been able to include all the footage of the evolution of the pool, but you will see some of the work that I did on the pool. This house took me about 2 days in total to do everything, and so I had to cut out a lot of footage. I really was trying to keep this around a half an hour. And then I added some screenshots at the end of some of the rooms that you don't get to see in the speed build. But of course, you can always go to the gallery and download the house and see everything for yourself. But anyway, getting back to the build, this house has a very large master bedroom with a walk-in closet and a big bathroom. And then each of the kids' rooms are also very large, and they all have their own bathroom as well. That's kind of what I tend to do when I'm dealing with these large estate type homes. Usually you just have so much room to fill up with things that bedrooms and bathrooms are always really extravagant, and I go all out with those. As far as the interior goes, I went with a lot of base game actually, because I really wanted to stick with a traditional interior. You can see here I'm starting to do the floor plan. As I was floor planning, I still hadn't really decided what the interior was going to look like. I was kind of thinking maybe I would go rustic, because I thought the front of the house with the plaster and the stone had almost a tiny bit of a Mediterranean look to it. But then in the end, I just decided to just go straight up traditional, which I have to say was really difficult. I think because I've built so many sort of light, bright, airy homes lately, and a lot of rustic homes and a lot of modern homes, it's been a really long time since I've built a traditional home, or that I've really used a lot of base game interiors. So I had to kind of brush up on the catalog and what exactly was even available for base game. But anyway, this house started out as just obviously a giant rectangle that I had to figure out how in the world I was going to turn into rooms. I've skipped some of the time that I spent, trying to decide on room size, but for the most part, I've included it so you can kind of see the process. I know when I first started building, I really appreciated when people would include floor planning, because I think that's a really difficult thing to do, and it takes a lot of practice. So hopefully you'll find it helpful to kind of see my process. Another thing you might have noticed in my last couple of speed builds is I sort of have this habit of filling the rooms with you can see it's happening right now. Filling the rooms with with furniture that is just placeholder furniture. It's not furniture that I'm actually going to use in the build, but when I'm looking down at the home, it's really helpful if I can kind of remember which square is a bedroom, which one's a bathroom, which one's an office, especially when dealing with really big houses. It helps to do that. I highly recommend that. And what I've done, as you can see, is I've used those camping beds to sort of stake out which rooms are going to be the bedrooms. Moving on here to the exterior, you'll see I use stone, and that is Seasons. Unfortunately, we don't really have a lot of options when it comes to stonework for exteriors if you want to match with the foundation, which in a house like this, since it's built with terrain tools and terrain manipulation, it's really important that it was the same type of stone for the front as it was for the foundation. So didn't really have a lot of options, so I went with Seasons, which was fine. It wasn't probably exactly what I wanted. The original house was a larger, sort of rougher stone, but it worked in the end. Here is one of the manifestations of the pool, which didn't end up staying on the side here where you're seeing it now. I had a heck of a time trying to figure out what to do with that backyard. More on that later. So now we're going into the kitchen. This actually is the third time that I did this kitchen. And I don't mean just placed a couple of things. I mean, I made this kitchen 3 times. It was just giving me so much trouble. The first one that I made was Jungle Adventure with tile, and it just was really coming across super rustic. It was beautiful, but it just didn't fit the house. And so I scrapped that and I went to something a little more traditional with the, I used the vampire cabinets and like a square tile, brick backsplash. I ended up deleting all of that. So this kitchen you're seeing now is the third kitchen that I put in this house. And I think this is better. This is a base game cabinet, which I think is very traditional. I don't hardly ever use these cabinets. They're not really my taste, but I thought going with the theme, it was working. The tile is Parenthood with a sort of a green and gray swatch. And I think in the end, it did come off with that traditional vibe I was looking for. I really just wanted to capture a certain look. I don't even really know how to explain it other than just very, very traditional. So I've got some pots hanging over the island, and the bar I decided to kind of just put right down the middle. And then I grabbed that green out of the tile to use. I pulled that out for the curtains and the chair cushions, the rug, so that would all sort of tie together. And those chairs actually as well have green wooden backs. So in the end, I think it's very traditional. It's homey. It's a little old-fashioned. I guess it kind of almost gives me like an 80s vibe. It kind of reminds me of like houses when I was a kid, just with that sort of medium brown wood. I don't know. It's a little dated maybe, but that's just what, I don't know, that's just what seemed to fit with this house. So putting in some under cabinet lights now, which really helps the tile sort of pop. And I think I went ahead and did the decor. Let's see. Oh yes, some rugs, also in green. That's a tip I'll give you, is anytime you're working with tile, I think I said this in my last video as well, picking the colors out of that, even if it's just little flecks of that color, it always really helps tie everything together. That shelf is from Cool Kitchen Stuff. And we're adding a trash can and a broom. Oh, and the floors. I decided to go with, since if you noticed, I've got these arches separating the rooms because I wanted to keep it very open. So anytime I deal with archways like that, I always make sure the flooring is the same. Sort of my rule of thumb is if there's a door that closes, you can change the flooring, but if it's an archway, the flooring's got to stay the same. Now I'm just cluttering it up with a few odds and ends. I'm picking up on that green again. I tied that into some of the clutter items. I think the green in the plants and the green in the utensil holder, the green in the cookie jar, all kind of helps tie that together. I'm all about matching. If you've watched my last couple of videos, you know I'm really into matching. So, oh, there's more green in the herbs. And a coffee pot. Some seasoning, and I think that's about it. Oh yes, a rug. I think later I went back, oh yes I did. Later I went back and I added a food bowl. So if your sim family has a pet, I didn't add a litter box though, I just happened to think. But I did add a food bowl, so you could have a dog, I guess. Or if you want to have a cat, you could add a litter box pretty easily. So now I've moved on to the formal dining room. Again, carrying through with, as best I could, the same tone of wood. And that bar is the same swatch as the kitchen cabinets. And then those chairs are the same as the little dining table that I did in the eat-in kitchen. So that way everything is sort of the same theme again. This room came off really green. It's so funny because green is not my favorite color, but this house has a lot of green in the kitchen and the dining room, which I have mixed feelings about. I don't know, this is one thing, I think I've said this before, but one thing is, you know, when you're bound to a certain visual idea and you sort of have in your mind, you know, what this house is going to look like. You can sort of see it in your head. Sometimes you have to kind of go against your own personal choices. Personally, I wouldn't go with a green dining room, but I think it turned out okay. And then I added that wood paneling behind the bar just to kind of cut up the green because there was so much green. And that broke it up a little bit. And also I think it kind of added a little more prestige to the bar area as well. Now the living room, this is actually the second living room. I had the living room done in green and dark wood, and then when I panned back away from the house and I saw the green kitchen and the green living room and the green dining room all together, I was like, no, this is too much green. This is overkill. Because there's a fine line between, you know, carrying your colors through and way overdoing it. So I ended up deleting that. Now you know why it took me so long to put this video up. So I ended up deleting that and going with blue, which might seem like it wouldn't match, but actually the nice thing about that wood floor, that's actually from Cats and Dogs. That wood, if you look at it closely, it actually has blue and green tones mixed with brown and gray, which is really versatile because that floor you can put against almost any color and it will look good. It looks really good with the green rug. It looks really good with the blue rug. It's got a little bit of everything all sort of mingled together. So I really lucked out and I was able to go with blue in this room so that I wouldn't have everything green. Those cabinets around the TV that I've sort of tried to make a makeshift sort of entertainment center, those are the same cabinets that are in the kitchen. I was going again for that sort of a little bit old-fashioned traditional look, and so I know, you know, 10 or 20 years ago, everybody had those huge giant, you know, entertainment centers because TVs were so big and square back then that, you know, the entertainment center had to be gigantic. So I was trying to sort of recreate that. I don't know if I accomplished it. You can be the judge of that. But anyway, this is the office, and I imagined that this sim was like a doctor or a lawyer or something very important, because I mean, you figure this house is huge and really extravagant. I mean, maybe not extravagant, but it's pretty big, that he would have a pretty professional job. So I put a lot of things from Get to Work, those filing cabinets and filing boxes and things, and made it almost look like a work from home area, which actually you could do since there's a lot of careers in The Sims that are work from home careers. I tried to kind of fast forward that part because it wasn't as exciting. I was just basically putting in bookcases and things. And then in here, I'm cluttering up those little shelves that I sort of tucked in between the cabinets. That shelf, I can't remember. I think it's Base Game, or maybe it's Get to Work, but I just sort of stuck it in between the cabinets to make it look like it was built in. And I added a chess table there and a rug, a little bit of art. And now we're going, okay, so when you first come in the front door of the house, you can see it there. The room to your immediate left is sort of like a pass-through room because it has archways on both sides. So I decided to make this the art studio. The room has a lot of light and it's in a good central location. So I thought it would make a nice place to put all the art supplies. I've included even some masterpiece works there that my sim painted just for the build. Now moving on here to the laundry room. This is right off the kitchen. There's a door there that goes out onto the back patio, and there's a sidewalk that will take you actually all the way back around to the front of the house. So it could be used as a family side entrance. That tile is Jungle Adventure, and the floor is also Jungle Adventure, which is my favorite to use with laundry rooms. There's a sort of aqua color in that swatch that I think really matches that washer and dryer well. Now you can sort of see this patio I was talking about. It's right off the laundry room in the kitchen, and that's where I put the grill. I always try to put the grill right outside the kitchen because in my mind, you know, when you're grilling, you're bringing the meat or whatever out of the kitchen and you're taking it to the grill. So logically, it should go by the kitchen, even though Sims don't actually have to do that. And I've added some chairs. They're dark brown with that green cushion I thought was tied in nicely. Those are from Perfect Patio Stuff. Okay, now we're back inside. This is the master bedroom, and I wanted to stick with the brown, but I kind of wanted to lighten it up a little bit. I don't really like dark bedrooms, so I thought by changing the floor and adding the white wainscoting, it really brightened the room up, made it a little more cheerful. That bed has like a sort of a cream and yellow swatch and almost like a brocade pattern. And then of course the Sim has her artwork on display, fitting with the artist's theme. Those are some paintings that she drew. And sticking with traditional furniture in here as well. The only downside about those large rounded windows is really that's the only curtain that I think works really well because it obviously has the arch on top. So you notice I use those curtains quite a bit in this house. Now this archway leads into the walk-in closet. I like walk-in closets to be open like that because if you put a door, you kind of tend to forget about them. But when you have them open like that with the arch and you can see it from the bedroom, I just think that looks really cool. I wish I had a closet like that. And there's a couple of mirrors in there. I put the shoes, the two different cabinets or closets that we got with Get Famous. Then I added over here, I had this sort of long, narrow area, which I had thought might be a good place for a desk. And then I thought, well, we already have that huge office. So I put a treadmill over there instead and a little TV. And now I'm just cluttering up these chests and adding some makeup. And now we're in the master bathroom. Again, with this bathroom, I'm still trying to stick with these sort of brown tones. Not something I usually use in bathrooms, so it's a bit of a challenge. But I thought the clawfoot bathtub definitely went with the theme. And then I ended up using the same cabinets for the sinks as I did in the kitchen, so that kind of all tied in together. Those are base game. Those sinks are also base game. That tile floor, I believe, is also base game, but the walls are Parenthood. So I'm just adding all the toiletries and soaps and makeup and things in here and getting that all cluttered up. Toothbrushes. Now here I wasn't really sure about this shower. This shower that we got in Get Famous is glass on all four sides, so it's a little bit different than the other showers that we have in the game. It really gives you the opportunity to not wall it off, because normally what we would do as builders is we would place that shower wherever we wanted it, and then we would put a wall like a little wall segment there, and then maybe like the toilet on the other side or something to kind of cover it up. But with glass on all four sides, it really opens up that shower to the possibility of it not being against the wall. So I kind of left it out in the middle. I thought it was interesting. I don't know if I would always do that, but I thought it worked, and I really wanted to keep that bathtub in front of the window. I just thought it was framed really nicely by the way the curtains were pulled back. And that rug is from the fitness pack. Okay, now we are outside. I'm just sharing a tiny bit of landscaping here because it took forever. I ended up lining those pathways with individual stones, and it must have taken me 2 hours. I don't know. It took forever. So I cut all of that out. I wasn't going to make you guys have to watch me place hundreds of stones. But I'm showing you a little bit here of the flowers I was putting in. I decided to go with this sort of pink. It's not a color I use very often, but I felt it was very traditional. Normally in suburban homes, I tend to go with white, green and white, and maybe a little bit of color, but this, I was trying to kind of match it to that sort of traditional theme that I had going on the inside as well. Oh, now you can see my little stones that I put down. Oh, that was quite a project. Okay, so I added some exterior lights, and now into the final phase, which are the kids' bedrooms. If you've been watching my other speed builds, you know that I always save the kids' bedrooms for last because it's my favorite part. And usually by the time I've spent hours and hours and hours on a home, I'm just so ready to be done and so anxious. I've got 10 other houses in my brain all wanting to be built. So I always save these for last. Now, what I had the mom do is she came in and painted a mural on each of the kids' bedrooms because I thought, you know what, she's an artist and she has this beautiful art studio and this house is filled with so much art. It just made sense that she would do hand murals for all the kids' rooms. And I didn't know what they were going to be. You put down the blank mural square and then you get to choose like a category. I believe this category was called nature. And then I just had to go with it, which was kind of fun because it didn't really allow me to pre-plan the bedrooms as far as like theme and color. So I had to wait and see what she would create first. And then once the mural was done, then I could decorate the room. Normally, I don't do pink curtains on a pink wall, but I really was trying to pull attention to the mural. I wanted it to really shine, so I didn't want the curtains to pop. I just wanted them to kind of blend in with the rest of the room. And I wanted to draw all eyes to the mural. So that would be the main focal point of the room. And of course, this room has lots and lots of pink stuff. I remembered to put the laptop in this time. And she's got like a little comfy seating area and a little coordinating bench. And of course, lots of decor. And I skipped her bathroom. It's also pink. It turned out really cute, but you can see that if you download it. But I was pressed for time here, so I'm moving on to the room next door. This mural I thought was really, really cute. This is right up my alley because I love bright pink and fuchsia. So I was really excited to do this room. I ended up going with those Parenthood cabinets dresser and nightstand because they have that same hot pink drawer. And those curtains are from Vintage Glamour Stuff. And then I just thought that rug was perfect. I mean, that rug and that mural looked like they were born to go together. And the bed too, with that sort of aqua sheets on the hot pink comforter. Love it. So I'm just adding a lot of stuff. Let's see, she's got a pink chair and a little pink table. Oh yes, and I was looking for a floor lamp, and I decided to go with this sort of turquoise aqua floor lamp. Again, I'm just loving this color combination, so it's really fun to choose decor when you kind of hit the jackpot on colors. I kind of figured she was pretty young, just school-aged kid, you know, not a teen. So I gave her some homework projects and toys and stuffed animals. If you wanted to make this into a teen room, you could. You could just take the toys out. And she's got a tablet. And now we're on to the bedroom. Okay, so this bedroom was interesting. The mural is like, I don't know what. It's like the ground split open. I don't know. I wasn't really sure, but then I thought, you know what, this is really cool. I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna have her redo it. So it's just kind of this chasm that's like split open in the wall. I don't know. I think a boy would think that was pretty cool. So I went with a lot of black and gray in here, and I added the streaming table. Maybe he's a YouTuber, I don't know, and lots of video game stuff, a gaming computer, and posters and things. So actually, I think we're getting to the end because I cut out the last bit of landscaping. So thank you so much for watching. I've added some screen caps of the rooms that I skipped. So please remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more builds from me, and I really appreciate your support, and I will see you guys next time with another speed build. Bye-bye.